welcome the other members that have just joined on. Patty, did I say hello to you? I didn't say hello to you yet. Hi. Nice to meet you. Are you a Daily Omer as well? Gosh, you people are rocking it. I love it. I love it. I love the Daily Om people. It's just been so nice. Now, you haven't made your appointment with me, have you? Oh, you're that Patty. Oh, Patty. Oh my gosh, you're going with me to the Amazon. Oh, it's so nice to see your face. I'm really excited. We'll get on the phone soon and talk about that because that is something else, I'll tell you. And then we have a 727 area code that I know, I think I know who this is. Who is it? 727, if you'll speak up and introduce yourself. Who is it? Of course it is. I know that number. I should have it totally memorized. My darling, I'm so glad to hear your voice. But, you know, I'd love to see your face. So let's get back on our schedule here soon because I've missed you and want to catch up with you. Michelle has gone from client to friend, and she's wonderful. She's on the East Coast. Where's everybody from? And then we're gonna get into it. And for Facebook Live, I don't know who's on here, but I'm also Zooming. So you're gonna see me go like this, everybody, because I'm on the laptop and the cell phone. And I'm gonna manage both. Haha. Let's hit record and get it going. All right, everybody. So this all just came about yesterday. I thought if I can't make time to teach about Christ consciousness and Jesus, Yeshua ben Joseph as he's known on the other side now, then when am I going to? So literally, I think it was last night, I don't know, Jen, you might know, it was like 4 o'clock my time. I said, we're gonna do this and we're gonna have this class. And it's so important that we remember the real reason for Christmas. I know we hear that and it sounds very cliche, but it's true. We get caught up in the hustle and the bustle and all of the things that we have to get done or we're supposed to get done. And I want this to be a time of reflection for you. And I want to inspire you to connect deeper to Christ. And so I want to start at the beginning. I am a Christ consciousness being. And what that means is that I come from that same soul stream family as he did, Yeshua ben Joseph. And because of that, I've always had this amazing draw and feel and connection to him, even before I understood what that was. And even before I learned in Bible study and CCD class, because I was raised Catholic and Protestant. And it was a very big, you know, very, very big trauma, the two parents fighting over which religion. And so, but I, even though I went to Catholic school and then, you know, I was also Southern Baptist, I was very confused from the religiosity of it, right? Of who Jesus is, what is the purpose of having a relationship with Jesus? Because I didn't believe later in life that if you don't believe everything that's written in the Bible, you're going to, you know, burn in eternal damnation. It was very confusing to me because I thought, if God is all love, and I'm sure you have had that feeling too, then how is that even possible? You can't burn up one of your kids, you know? And so those questions started with me very early in life. Now, I grew up, as most of you know that have taken any of my classes or courses, in a very dysfunctional, violent family home. And there was a lot of mental illness and a lot of emotional sickness, and just, you know, their way of handling children was beating them, verbally abusing them, emotionally abusing them. It was just the way they operated, right? But even in those moments of danger, because it was quite dangerous at times, I had this connection and I had this peace inside me, and I thank God for that. So, you know, all along I was meant to do this. And everything in my life, which has been a lot of trauma, a lot of sickness, a lot of issues and circumstances that I've had to go through to come to this side, it all led me to have a deeper, profound, not only relationship, but I've allowed myself to be used as a vessel. I surrendered to it, and I surrendered some time ago, but I didn't know how it was working in my life. So as I started coaching clients, before I knew I was a healer and a conduit, a clear conscious conduit, I was coaching people. And it's funny how that never got off the ground, because that was never really what I was. And it wasn't until I discovered that really I was a spiritual teacher, and even beyond that, really channeling messages either from the higher self of others, from Jesus, Archangel Michael. So those two, Archangel Michael and Jesus, have been with me predominantly for a year now, working with me, working through me, and helping people through prayer. And for years, I was only praying for people when they asked me to. Now it's, I ask for permission, so we're in agreement, but, every person I talk to, we end in prayer, and that's where the miracles happen. So the reason why I talk about miracles all the time is because truly when we elevate and allow Christ consciousness to infiltrate us in every way, we then are living in that realm of the miraculous. That's where, you have the safety, you have the security, you're going to be okay, you're going to fulfill dreams, that you're in this situation for now, and that it's teaching you something. We can go into victimization when we're going through hard times or we don't have what we want, but instead those are the moments that we reach up or we reach in and we say, I know that this is serving me somehow, and we literally elevate out of victimhood and into power of creation. And really, truly, to know Jesus is to know peace. To know Christ consciousness is to know power. It's to know the miraculous. It's to know joy. It's to feel secure and safe. And truly, there is no higher realm. So I want to explain about the great masters that have ascended. We've had a lot of great masters. Kuan Yin, Gandhi, Buddha. There's been so many, right? That we have the Dalai Lama now. We have Pope Francis. We have so many wonderful spiritual leaders. Yeshua, Ben Joseph is his name. Christ is a label that was given him, meaning Messiah. But his true name, and he was a true man, but his destiny was to enlighten to the point of self-realization to such a degree that literally he could raise people from the dead, including himself. And the purpose of us having him embody that is so that we can know the true nature of God. I had a conversation with Jesus once, and I said, now why is it really that you came down? Because I find it hard to believe that God looks at us as a bunch of sinners, and we're not. We're not looked at that way. It doesn't even make sense. So the Bible has a lot of mistruths in it or misinterpretations, and we've been taught some misinterpretations. So there's a lot of wonderful things in it. I'm going to give you guys references of other books that are relevant now, that Jesus has indicated to many people to read. One is The Course in Miracles. Another is Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. Also, Become a Christ. So truly we are all to become a Christ. Okay, and what that means is that we elevate to the consciousness that he did, which means, as he said, you will do this and more. I love the New Testament, and I tell people I love the stories of the Bible. And Jen, I'm going to mute for now. We got some noise going on here just for the sake of the recording, because this is going to go out to a few thousand people. We got a little bit of static, and not to be rude, I love interactive because then we can all talk about it, and we will, and I'll answer your questions here shortly. So where was I? So many things to say. So we're to elevate to Christ consciousness, and what that means is we have this imprinted on us already, right? Because we're born. We're human beings. We have the divine sparkler living within us. Christ consciousness is the highest level of consciousness that we can reach on this plane, okay? When we're on the other side, there's the consciousness of God the Father, God the Mother, there's even more. But on this plane, as human beings, there is nothing higher than we can attain than Christ consciousness. And you already have the ability to have that and do that and be that imprinted in your DNA. So I'm here to help you activate that. So that's my job. That's what I'm being used for, and I allow that, and I thank you. And so what happens is, when you allow that in, so, add to your prayer life if you feel led that you really want to know true Christ and you really want to amplify your Christ consciousness. And what will happen is your brain will start changing first, and you will live more from your heart. That's where your divinity really does live. When we get confused in life, it's because of our mind. It's not because of our heart. Our mind is what keeps us trapped in suffering. Our mind is what keeps us going around and around, feeling lack, feeling cursed, feeling that the blessings aren't happening for us, feeling that things aren't going to work out, feeling fear in life. All of that are trapped old neural pathways, trapped old emotional wounds that are on repeat in your life. So that's, as you all know, is the work I do a lot, is working with the brain. And when I pray for each of you tonight, we are going to be activating your mind of God that lives within. So operating from the 3D human mind will keep us in suffering. So it's all of our job to remind ourselves that we have the ability to enter into the consciousness of Christ and into the mind of God. Now, any questions so far? And I'm going to unmute. I don't know how to unmute all of you at the same time. I know there's got to be a way. Jan or anybody, Heather, I'm unmuting all of you. And I just so far, because I know that this might be new information for some of you about Christ consciousness. Does anybody have anything they want to add? Or you know, want to say? I know that it's for some that were brought up in religious backgrounds, it can be difficult to hear that, you know, God isn't going to damn you if you're not a Christian and you're not, you know, born again. I don't believe that. I never have. I tried to really, really, really hard. And, you know, Jesus is here and he's giggling at that because it's so erroneous. It's so ridiculous that remember from the Old Testament, this is a little Bible teaching. The Old Testament was written during a time where people were very, 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 I'm going to go back and mute everybody, very superstitious, okay? So if there was a natural phenomenon, they always thought it was God cursing them or blessing them. It was never because of just the way Mother Nature works. It was always they were either being displeasing to God, and it was they're being smited, or they've been obedient to God, so therefore they've been blessed. And that is just the way that the mindset was for those people back then. They didn't have the awareness that we have now. They didn't have the ability to use their common sense, actually. Because if you look at how we are in family, could you imagine smiting any child, no matter what they did? I mean, a corrective, yes, but smiting them, I mean, that's pretty extreme. I mean, you'd go to jail for that. So how could, it just doesn't make sense, how could this creator, the great I am, truly have those feelings and the ability to be vengeful like that? So that day, it was Easter about 5 years ago, and I was deep in prayer, and I was connecting really tremendously and deeply with Jesus, and I said, why is it that you were here? You know, what really was your purpose? And it really was for him to be the example of who God is and the character of God. And so we look at those words of what Christ is: compassionate, loving, kind, giving, patient, peaceful. He is the Prince of Peace. All of those characteristics that he showed us that we can live by and that we can have in our life. It's truly a work. We're all a work in progress, but we have a moment, every moment we have the choice to be at peace. Even during the hurried days and nights of writing out Christmas cards and shopping and cleaning and decorating and wrapping presents and all of that, or even in the throes of depression because maybe you don't have that special someone. Even during those moments, I want you to take the time to connect, and I want you to take the time to say, help fill my heart in the places that need to be filled. Help me feel the peace that you have. Put this in my heart. So I'm a true proponent of if you don't ask, you don't get. So because there is a law that trumps everything, and it's called free will. We are not robots. We have a choice. Every moment, we have a choice to believe. Hi, Jimmy. Thank you. I appreciate your comments. Every moment, we have a choice to enter into that state of being. And it really does come from within. And Jesus wants you to know it comes from within your heart. Deep inside your heart, beyond the wounds, beyond the disappointments, there lies the heart of God. And he embodied the heart of God. He was the heart and is the heart of God that walked around here on earth and showed us how to live. And how you really can, this is the message he's telling me now, and he told me when I was in the bathtub a little bit ago. The messages really come strong for me in the bathtub. I don't know if any of you have that experience when you're in water, but water is a great relaxant. And when we're relaxed is when we can hear better. So, you know, another note to self, take more baths. Now I live in the bathtub half the time. So what he really wanted you to know is that you have it already, and that looking outside yourself is not where you're going to find it. That you have to look within your heart, because that's where he is, and he is one with you always. Whether we believe it or not, truth exists, whether we acknowledge it or not. And so you can invite, and this doesn't mean you got to go get baptized in a river and you've got to, like, you know, Bible thump your way through life. All I'm saying is to have that level of Christ and Christ be your friend through this, and to ignite and turn on your consciousness of this high enlightenment to self-realization. Your higher self already knows it. Your higher self already has it, with this, which is your spirit. It's about having it here in your physical body. It's about having it here on earth. As he spoke to us, we can have heaven on earth. And so the way to have that, of course, is to have this Christ consciousness turned on, turned up, and become your state of being. Now, is it easy? It's simple, sounds simple. At times, yes. And I will tell you, it gets easier. The more that you set your intention on living this way, on learning this, on studying, on praying, on connecting. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't spend half my day connecting to the Spirit. And it doesn't mean I try to levitate on a pillow with candles all around the house and I'm going like this. Sometimes it's when I'm doing the dishes. Sometimes it's when I'm driving. Sometimes it's when I'm exercising. But I just say, thank you. If all you could say was thank you, it'd be enough, right? We've heard that before. And it's really just a feeling of connection. So setting the intention, and Jesus says, you know, I'm here with you all the time. I'm never not with you. That's a message, he's over here, that he wants you to know. And that his grace and his peace he's sending to each and every one of you watching this right now. And that truly you are in the realm of the miraculous right now. And that each and every one of you, he's working in your life and he's healing you even as we speak. I can see his hands stretching out to each and every one of you. So it's like he's with each and every one of you right now, yet he's here too. And he is the way to this highest level of being here on this planet. So we are to learn from him, and we are to ask him into our life even more and acknowledge him that his presence is with you and that he's here to serve you. And he also wants you to know that the way into true Christ consciousness is of being to service to others. That we so much want. That's the human egoic mind. He is saying, enter into the realm of grace for other people. That is where you will be the Christ. That is where he will work through you so mightily, and you will feel the presence even more. Find a way, even a small way right now. Commit to something that you can do in these next few days. Commit to something that you can do in these next few days, that you can bring peace to someone else, where you can give of yourself from your heart, not out of from ego, but from your heart. And that's where you'll find Christ consciousness coming through you. You will feel a sense of peace, a sense of belonging. You will feel the Spirit move so strongly to you that you will feel a joy inside of you that you haven't felt in a long time, that's aching to come out and to express as you. And the way we do this is by being of service. So for each and every one of you, go inside your heart and you will know the special way that I will work through you. This is him speaking, to be of service to others. And that's where you will find me. Any questions? Raise your hand so I can see you, so I can unmute. Jen, if you were on the admin, is there any way that you could like unmute everybody all at once? Yep. Okay. I'm going to unmute every person here. because I'd like to answer any questions that you guys might have. And I know that he has more to say. And it's just like, I'm telling you, the joy that I felt in my heart at about, I don't know, 5:30, when I was feeling so sick, and I'm like, how am I going to do this and do a good job? And then it's like, it's not you, honey. When you are weak, the Spirit is strong. And now I'm like sweating and I feel so energetic. So that's the beauty of when the Spirit comes through me, is I always get a reward. Thank you. Thank you. So Jesus really presented himself to me even more so when I had a really, really dark night of the soul last January, where I thought I was really diseased and going to die soon. And I even said, okay, I'm ready to go. And I knew in that moment I had a lot to say about whether I was going to stay or go. And I don't know that I was going to die that night, but I knew that I was going to set forth a process that was going to take me to the next realm. And I was already very sick, and I had a growth in my lung, and my lungs were collapsing, and kidneys weren't working, and I had influenza and scleroderma all at the same time. It was terrible. And in that moment, Archangel Michael was on my left side, Jesus was on my right side. And they both said, you can go, free will. You can do this. That's up to you. And in that nanosecond where I was like, sure, because I don't want to live like this. This sucks. I feel terrible. And I felt like I was dying. All of a sudden, I saw a flash of my children before my eyes. And then I saw my husband, my dear husband, who's over here. Come closer, babe. And then I saw my dear husband, his face, come sit by me. And then I saw all these people that I didn't know. And it was like, yeah, you can go. And it was like this download. You can go. If you're tired of this suffering that you've gone through, you can go. Or you can stay. And these are the people. And this is why. And I was like, well, of course I'm going to stay. I just got married to this hunk of a man right here. And I wasn't going to leave him. And I wasn't going to leave my 2 children and all of you. So I decided to stay. And, you know, I came back to life pretty much. It took about 8 weeks. And through that process, though, I got really busy, and I started being led to pray for people individually, and the miracles were happening instantaneously in their life, from Crohn's disease to money to, you know, relationships. Several people are getting married that took this program. So all of you that are on the relationship course, just stay the course. It's really infused with the Spirit of God. And so I allowed the miracles. I allowed myself to be available, and I believed in it. So I want you all to believe that you can do it too. I'm just a person, but I opened up to allow it to come through me. Now, not everybody's a clear conscious conduit, but everybody belongs to God, and everyone has the same love for them. You each have, you know, the cosmos, the great universe on your side, rooting you on. So, you know, I want you to be specific about what you want to experience, and I want you to believe in every part of your being that you're being healed right now of the things that are blocking you from having the life that you want. And Jesus is saying, yes, I am working on you and in you and through you. Believe, in so much as you believe, so shall you receive. And that is to be all of your mantras. When you start to doubt, that is the moment that you take more faith in and more belief in, and you trust in the universe to support you and to help you, and you trust in me to open doors that can't be opened and to close others that you should not enter. And he always says to me, and I want to share it with you, be not afraid. I go before you always. Come follow me, and I will give you rest. So you don't have to do it alone. So much we think we have to, you know, oh, I have to make this business work, or oh, I have to do this, or oh, I have to do that, and I have to do this. And through my courses, every single one, the very last audio that you'll hear, regardless of the subject matter, is about allowing and receiving. And truly, we manifest through our consciousness, right? And we manifest what we want to experience by our alignment to it, and our belief systems being so powerful and so strong. But at that point, then we allow. That's when we rest. And that's when we say, okay, I give it to you. And then you can take a breath. And then you can allow the Great Spirit to work in and through you. But when we charge forward with this masculine, controlling, dominating energy, There's no room for the allowance to take place in your life. So Jesus is saying again, allow me. Allow me to serve you. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Anything they want to ask? No? All of that and nobody has a thing to say? Does anybody want a special prayer? How about that? How about that? Anybody have something specific that they would like to pray, have Jesus pray for you? Is there anything anybody wants that they don't have? And we can just pray right now. Or would you like me to do a generic prayer? I'm happy to do that. Any questions about, the blocks that keep you from what you want? Do you have any questions, babe?
More about the allowing part.
About letting go of control? Okay, so Victor wants to know more. He right there, my husband, who gets to hear all this all the time, every day. There he is. He wants to know more about allowing. And what do you want to know about allowing?
When you get into that masculine controlling space where you're trying to drive things home, how do you take a step back and allow the space to be there to allow? Okay,
so Victor's asking, how do you let go of, like when you're trying to manifest something or you're working towards something?
Just day-to-day life.
Day-to-day life. How do you learn to let go?
To let go and to get that space to allow.
To come to the space to allow. Well, first, if you're having a problem doing that, ask for help. I mean, come on. Ask so you can receive. Remember, because of the law of free will, we have to ask. We have to. That's our job. And we have to be clear about what we want. It's in the details. So if you're having trouble coming into that state of being, then you have to ask to be shown. Ask to have the blocks that are keeping you from that, right? So basically, Victor wants to control, right?
It's ingrained in me.
Yep. Okay, so he says it's ingrained in him. I'm muting everybody because there's some static on the line. So he says it's ingrained in him that he has to control. And Jesus is talking to you right now, not me. And he is saying, when you give up that control and you allow me to step in and assist you, is where you'll find the peace and when more opportunities will come to you. Doing it on your own will only get you so far, as you already know when you've been doing this a long, long time. When you invite me through the invitation is when I can help you and when I can be there with you, serving you and showing you the way. And it will bring you the peace and the joy that you've been searching and are yet to find. So it's in the asking and in the invitation. And then receiving it. And so there'll be little nudges, there'll be little voices, there'll be little, old habits die hard, as we know. And so you'll be triggered into that space of, I've got to do it this way, because you've been doing this way for how long? Well, you're
50 years.
Well, you're not 50 yet, babe. Almost 50.
Yeah.
So we're all ingrained to do things a certain way. And so that is what we have to give up, and that's what we have to work on. That's our job to do. And I always say, I tell people this all the time. When I journal, everything turns into a prayer. And I will say, dear God, and Jesus and the Holy Spirit and Mother Mary, and I write down the whole heavenly host and all of the spirit guides and all the archangels and all the angels, and then I just write the whole heavenly host, and I pray that way too. I invite you to try that out. I'm like, whoever can help me, I'm asking you and calling you in to help me, please. And then the thing is, what he's showing me right now is what happens when we pray. In the moment, we're in that pleading vibration, and we're giving that pleading vibration to the spirit realm. And there's a moment where we feel really hopeful, but then fear sets in that we're not going to get the help that we need. And that's a trick of the human mind. I'm actually seeing visuals about how it operates. And so there's a moment, a very small moment, when we have to build our faith. where we have to believe so much, and we have to know that we know that we know that the presence is always with. We're never without it. And truly, truly, God desires to give you the desires of your heart, and that God put those desires on your heart in the first place. It is only in your fear and your belief in lack that keeps you from experiencing what you really want. Does that help you?
Yeah.
He says, yes. Thank you. Thanks, God. So it's the work for all of us, right? I mean, I can do it too. There's lots of areas in my life that I have to relinquish the control over. And it's hard, you know, because we're working businesses or careers, or we want this, and we want to manifest it, right? The manifesting, we take inspired action. We pray, what should I do next? We wait to hear for the answers, or we go with our intuition. I beg all of you to pray for your intuitive abilities, which is the way the Spirit can talk to you the easiest, the best, and the most profoundly, to stir up your intuition. Practice intuitive skills. There's lots of, Shakti Gawain, she has lots of books about developing your intuition. I highly recommend that for everyone, because that is the still small voice. That is the voice of God. That comes from your divine sparkler deep within you. The loud voices are usually old patterns, emotional wounds, neural pathways that aren't serving you, old belief systems, and fear. When you hear things so loudly, like when Victor got mad about the rent being raised at the office. I said, do not allow yourself to be angry about that. Let it go. Don't let it ruin your night and make you upset for the next 2 months as you guys negotiate. Give it up, you know, and I know you have to do your part with the negotiation, and then you pray for a blessing. I pray for blessings over everything. Bring more prayer into your life. What prayer Jesus is saying right now? Prayer is you opening up an intimate communion. It is not so much that it's not so much about pleading with what you want. It's about having a divine communion with your Creator. And you're opening up this intimacy. And it's more about receiving the intimacy of God than even what you're praying for. And you can be in a state of being where no words are uttered, yet you're in the presence. You're in the Holy of the Holies. That you're in the divine nature of yourself. And the more that you open up to this and allow this to become part of you, acknowledge it. It already is imprinted in you. Acknowledge it. Allow it to grow and expand and enhance your life. And you will find that joy that you're looking for. You will find the peace and the power and the compassion and the passion and all of the things to give yourself an abundant life. A life of the miraculous, the realm, the stream that is available to you at all times. It is your belief, and it is living through your heart and connecting to that heart center. Your higher self has been edging you and nudging you to connect deeply within. Connect deep with that inner child of yours, for when we're children, before we have all of these things that happen to us, is the innocence and the purity of love for God. Because when we're children, we remember. So dig deep inside yourself and remember the wonder. Remember the wonder of connection. Remember how special feeling connected to God can be. And that lives within you. You will never find it outside of yourself. It is within you, always waiting for you to acknowledge, to pray for, and allow to come through. So, any questions? Does anybody want a special prayer? Raise your hand. Just like that. Who? Jen? Jennifer? Did you say you want a special prayer? Oh, you were messing with your hair because I said raise your hand and then you went like this, so I saw it on the corner of my eye. Bear with us as we learn Zoom and we learn about how we can teach you to raise your hand, because I know that there's a way that we can do this, but we don't know how. So I'm sorry about that. I'll just keep scrolling and keep going here. So I want to say a prayer for you, for each and every one of you. So if you'll, whether you're on Facebook Live, my hand's getting tired, or on Zoom, I ask that you take a deep breath and close your eyes so you can see better. And sigh it out. It's okay, babe. Come sit. Take another deep breath. Come sit, honey. This is for you too. One more. Quieting the mind. Feel into your heart in this moment. Opening up your palms to face the ceiling so you're in a place of receiving and allowing. And I just come before you, Yeshua the Christ, Heavenly Father and Mother God, and all of the heavenly host. I thank the angels for being here. I thank each and every person's spirit guides for being here. And Jesus, I thank you for being here, and I thank you for always being with us, never ever departing. And the presence of God, I call upon Godhead to surge into each one of these people's lives, to bless them in their consciousness in a way that they didn't even know possible until today. I pray right now, Yeshua, that the great physician, that your hand is on each and every mind, illuminating every neural pathway, every memory, reframing, dissolving any negativity that would keep them from their self-realization. We pray right now that those be transmuted, dissolved, and gone to the light. And only positive energy to return back after it's been transmuted. I also pray that your hand is on their heart, and that the layers of hurt from over the years are peeled away, and that a new hope and a newfound joy for life and for just being alive in their life takes root. And that the joy of learning about you, about this great universe that we live with, and about service to others in the realm of Christ consciousness, that this becomes their focal point and the way that they live their life from today forward, that this be a day of transformation, that this be a moment of divine awakening, enlightenment, and miracles. I pray for abundance in every way in each person's life. I pray for relationships of soulmate love. I pray for healing of relationships they're already in. I pray for life purpose to take hold and root in their life. I pray for peace. I pray for financial abundance. Allow them more wealth, to believe in prosperity, that they truly have the world at their fingertips to flow through them so that they can be a blessing to others through Christ consciousness. And as they do that, they will find the true meaning of life. I pray for everyone's home life, for their families, for their friends. I pray for those that are forgotten during this holiday season. And together we lift them up throughout the world, the lonely, the heartbroken, the hungry, the orphaned, and the homeless. I pray that we each find a way that we can be of service in some small way or great way that will express unconditional love and express you. You are the great example of unconditional love. I pray for all of this and more, for everything begins and ends with you. And I pray for all of this in the physical here and now to become manifest. I stand in the way of their doubts. Work through me, Christ, for I have faith for these prayers. In your name I pray. Amen. That was cockeyed on there. Okay, everybody. Well, since I don't have any Q&As, and those were pretty deep messages, does anybody have anything they want to add? Because I'm sure, does anybody have Christmas cards they still have to write out? I do. I'm going to unmute everybody. I know some of you have hit your own mute. I can tell that you've muted yourself. So I'm unmuting everyone. And I've unmuted everyone here. And I just, if you want to mute yourself because it's noisy, go ahead. But I'm not going to mute you anymore. I want to offer each and every one of you to continue to work together through this group. And, you know, I will even extend it into January, 50% off of working for me. And I thought, how could I really spread this healing work even more? Even if you want to do, you know, you can do buy one, get one free, basically 50% off. You can do it for your friends. Think about the people in your life that could use some prayer, that can use some Christ consciousness in their life. and even yourself. I'm really happy that you all were here tonight, and I hope that you have. Did anybody have something they saw or they experienced? I know for me, I'm going to go find a homeless camp here in Silicon Valley, and I've known this for about a week. And my husband over here, can I throw you under the bus?
You always do.
I always do. My husband over here was like, no, we're not doing that. You are not cooking for some homeless people and getting knifed. And I'm like, you don't understand. This is the Spirit calling me to do this, and I will be more than safe, right? These people need prayer, and they need a blessing, and I'm going to bring them a hot meal too. And so then after we talked about it, then the Spirit moved him as well. So we're in Silicon Valley, which has the worst homelessness situation in the country. And so, you know, the big question now is, should I make hot turkey plates or spaghetti and meatballs? What's your vote, everybody? Because I'm not sure. But I mean, everybody loves the hot turkey sandwiches, you know, on a cold night. But who doesn't love spaghetti? And spaghetti is my wheelhouse. So what do you guys think? Anybody have an idea? Jesus is laughing. He says spaghetti and meatballs too. That's so funny. Spaghetti and meatballs it is, okay? Well, you know, it's funny because I cook from my heart, and they'll feel the love. They'll feel some love. So did anybody have like an idea or an inspiration of how they're going to enter into the besides what you normally do? I'm talking about something different of giving. Is there something, did somebody get a hit of what they're going to do in the next few days? I'm going to start calling on you. Jimmy, I know that you're on Facebook Live. Did that happen for you, or Jackie that's on Facebook Live? Did you have an idea of some way that you're going to be of service? And I don't know if he's still listening. What about you, Jennifer? I'm going to put my assistant on the spot. Everyone, this is Jennifer. So when you take my courses, or if you're trying to reach me somehow and you don't, this is the person you want to know. Jennifer at teresavigorino.com, and she will find me, and she's amazing. If you ever have technology issues, you reach out to her, Jennifer at teresavigorino.com, and she fixes all of that. She's my right hand and my left arm, and my right foot and my left pinky toe. Go ahead, Jennifer. Like, did you feel moved to do something special for someone in need, or to be of service somehow through the message? Yes. Oh, so you're going to raise money or do something like that? Oh, well, God bless you. That's wonderful. And I've been to the Philippines, as you know, many times now, and there is some incredible poverty in Philippines, and there's going to be poverty everywhere. And I'm not saying you have to like go broke helping, but you know, there's all kinds of ways, you know, old blankets, old coats, food to the food pantry, some cans, you know, there's all kinds of ways that we can be Christ-like. And truly, it's showing me the example of St. Francis if you're having some financial issues. The story of St. Francis that really affected me a lot this year, because I actually had been praying for a spiritual visitation. I wanted to see somebody, like with my eyes open, not in my third eye or in my level of meditation, but like open-eyed. And it was St. Francis. And he was praying over me. This is about 4 or 5 months ago. He was praying over me like this, and he was in his Franciscan robe. And the message to me was about St. Francis's life, because we had some financial strain. It was in the summer, and I was allowing myself to get some anxiety about it. And St. Francis was a wealthy person. He grew up with wealth. And I'm going to have to mute. He grew up in some wealth, and he was spoken to by the birds. He was on his way to battle, actually. And he had this beautiful horse and this beautiful, you know, suit of armor on that only the wealthy were able to have. And he was riding to battle one day when he could hear the birds, and he became so connected to life itself And we know that he is the patron saint to the animals, but he's more than that. So it was the life. All of a sudden, he could see all of life and how precious life was, and he denounced war. And it was a holy war. And he denounced the way that the church was at the time becoming, wealthier, and it was about money and power with the governments. And we know the history of the church and how this happened. And so he started the Franciscan order, which was he denounced wealth. Well, what was interesting about St. Francis is he was the one that would go, if he saw an unclothed person in the cold, he would take off his clothes and he would give them his clothes and give him his shoes and give him any money that he had so they can have food. And so then he would have no money and he would have no clothing. But what would happen is 25 people would come running to him to give him what he needed. And he would only take what he needed and he would donate the rest. And the lesson to me was not to live in poverty, but the lesson of when you give out of love, you open up to the realm of abundance. You open up to a different kind of abundance than you've had before. And so that's just a little lesson that I was being prompted to share with you, is not to be afraid of being generous. Actually, when you get afraid of being generous, that is the ego mind feeling like you're not going to be supported, and that is the opposite of the truth, because the truth is, if God could clothe the birds and what is that saying from the New Testament, and the lilies of the field, then what more would he do for you? And so living in that state of being becomes a level of, heightened consciousness, that you live in a place of more than faith. Above faith to me is belief. You believe it's going to happen. And above belief is knowingness, where you know it's going to happen. But I believe there's a higher realm that we can live in that will bring more peace and more joy to your life, and that's living in trust. Living and trusting that you are divinely loved and supported, and you have everything you need, and more is coming your way, and walk with that joy. Sing a song of joy. One of the best ways you can honor God for your life is to be a joyful person, because joy is contagious, just even more so than fear. All right, and that's it. Okay, everybody. I'm going to unmute one more time, Jen. We really have to figure this out. Yeah. If there's no questions or comments, everybody, then I am going to allow you your evening, and I want you to sit with this, the Prince of Peace, who's still with you and who will still linger, who was always with you. But, in tonight, I'd love for you to connect even deeper. There's a song that I love to listen to that puts me in this really, really close to Christ, and it's by Emerson Drive, and it is a Christian. It's a Christian group, but it's old school. My daughter said there's better songs, but it's old school. But I just have to share it with you, and right now I'm drawing a blank on the title of it, but it speaks to me so much. I can only imagine. Lots of people sing it. Even Carrie Underwood sings it. But this Emerson Drive, I Can Only Imagine version, if you're feeling sad, I want you just to listen to that, or find some music that really lifts your soul. If you are sad and you can't get out of being sad, make an appointment with me, www.askcoachteresa.com, if you haven't had one yet. Again, 50% off. Take advantage of it. If I can be of service to any of you, let me know. God bless you all. Be at peace. Bye, everybody. Thank you for being here, everyone. I send you so much love, and I'll continue to pray for each and every one of you. Take care, everybody. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you so much, and we'll send this recording out so you guys will get it to hear again. Okay? And we'll keep doing it. So this is just one of many. Okay, everybody? Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you, Facebook Live, for being here. I love you all. Merry Christmas.